America. I'm Tina Fey.
And I'm Amy Poehler. Welcome to your weekend update.
Interesting news this week. Palin announced the release of her second book titled America by Heart, which focuses on family, freedom, and hunting.
Apple finally announced they were putting the entire Beatles collection on iTunes this weekend. I guess that's why my dad keeps asking me to drive him to the iTunes store. Up next, America, you asked and we answered the current state of America's marine fisheries.
The main debate is over moderate fishing versus marine reserves. And today we're about to take you to Louisiana and talk to Chad about his opinions on marine reserves.
We're here with a local fisherman in Deep South Louisiana. This is Chad. Chad, can you give me your opinion on marine reserves?
Well, I sure can. I think the idea of marine reserves are a really good idea, especially me being a fisherman and all. In areas of high pressure take zones, it lets me make my living. You know, I get to get shrimp and crawfish and crab and anything that I want, really. But, you know, I also understand the importance of marine ecosystems because that's how I make my living. And, you know, in reserve areas where there's no take allowed and there's absolute preservation of the ecosystem, you know, I think it brings everything together very well.
Okay. Well, can you tell me what you think about the effects of outside pollutants and invasive species on these marine reserves? And maybe that's not a good idea, is it?
Well, I guess my answer to that would be that maybe the marine reserves are able to take care of themselves because, after all, octopuses are well armed.
Well, we all have our own opinions, don't we? I have one more question for you. What do you think about in 5 years when the structure and function of this ecosystem completely changes? How do you think that's going to affect these marine reserves? That's what I thought. Back to the studio. Marine reserves are the latest and greatest in conservation ecology, but we haven't seen enough positive results to be convinced that this is the best option. Pollutants, exotic species, and invasive species are still able to get into these reserve areas. We're spending millions and millions of dollars on actually conserving just a small portion of the world's oceans. Ladies and gentlemen, this is water. We can't just put up a fence. Next, we'll take you to Sarasota, Florida to meet with a NOAA ecologist.
We're here today at the Mote Marine Lab with Dr. Green, getting the opinion of a professional about moderate fishing pressures.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of debate lately over how to best sustainably manage our fisheries, you know, coming out of the marine reserves and the moderate fishing. And as a NOAA ecologist, I'm among a faction that really likes the medium pressure fishing over large areas. I think it allows you to interweave conservation strategies more effectively by strictly regulating the amount of take that comes out of the zone. You're not effectively adding high pressure to certain areas and reserving others. I think this allows for a more interweaving conservation strategy that doesn't greatly harm certain stocks while preserving others. I think it's just a better all-the-way-around approach.
One of my main questions, though, however, is how do you actually propose to enforce these moderate fishing laws, and how do you propose to stop overfishing?
Well, that's a really good question. It's going to take a lot of regulation from our federal agencies, that's something we're really going to have to deal with, especially with fishing companies and things of that sort. It's a great problem, and it's something that we're really going to have to look hard at and examine.
Okay, now back to the studio. Although some believe that moderate fishing is the way to go, it still holds its challenges. First off, the world is going to have to set a standard for fishing around the world. And then we're going to have to find a way for all countries to go by those standards. On the other hand, marine reserves do this naturally. They increase biodiversity, allow top predators to grow to their full potential and fully function in their environments, and they help to reduce damage on habitats usually hurt by fishing. And think about it, America. If someone gives you a rule, aren't you gonna break it?
Well, there you have it, America. It's up for you to decide. Should we continue our current efforts with marine reserves or move on to uniform moderate fishing?
Please give your opinion after a brief overview with Kendall Fleshman on location. Well, America, that's all we have for you this evening. I'm Tina Fey.
And I'm Amy Poehler. Good night from New York.